Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from PeakofSerenity.com here with another commentary video. This time it is Heroic Demonic Inquisition. No one expects the Demonic Inquisition. I should have said that a little bit more dramatically. But yeah, this is typically the second fight in Tomb of Sargeras. It is a two-target cleave fight. So, again, I used Serenity for this. Because there are really only two targets, and you kind of want to squeeze as much damage into the time that they're stacked up. There are periods of time where they're spread out because of one mechanic or the other. So Serenity is very useful for squeezing in as much cleave damage while they're stacked. And I used my wrists, the Drakey Horn cover, as well as Katsuo's on this, mostly because I don't like the chest piece. Legendary, but this would be a decent fight for Katsuo's because there's a little bit more AoE and stuff like that. So let's get down to it. So this is me fixing up the GP because I handle loot for my guild. But yeah, so it's a two-target fight. You have Belak and Atrigan. Atrigan's a kind of a melee guy. Belak is more of a spellcaster. And really, you're going to spend most of the time stack them up, except when they're each casting their big thing. You do have a whatever you call it, a secondary power button that when it gets full, you want to go down. You do want to make sure that there's a tank down there to help you. We went with 3 tanks, so there was always a tank down. This Echoing Anguish, I have no idea what it does. I tried to run out, and I was going to dispel it myself, and it got dispelled off of me, so I went back in. But again, you kind of just want to keep that pangs of guilt interrupted. So make sure that you know if you're the one who is involved in that interrupt rotation. But yeah, you just want to cleave as much as you can on them right now. Oh look, I am using the chest legendary. I believe this was the one fight that I said, oh, I'm gonna use this, and today will be my last day, and I was like, no. So Belak cast this Fell Squall. You could certainly stand in there and take a couple ticks with Touch of Karma. Just make sure you're tracking it so you don't take extra damage. And this is kind of the point that they get them spread out. The bosses do share a health pool, so you don't have to specifically try to focus down one or the other. But they do share a health pool, so that's where cleaving is good. So now Atrigan is going to cast his bone saw thing in a second, where he starts to spin around. But again, that's probably something you could use Touch of Karma on if you wish. Just don't stand next to Atrigan. It does quite a lot of damage. You could probably use Dampen Harm to dampen it, but really just run out. Simple as that. He got kind of kited into us, unfortunately. But yeah, so then they're going to be stacked up again, and you got some time before Belak casts his Fell Squall. So you hopefully want them to be stacked, and you want to just be kind of, just be blowing them up. They weren't quite stacked as nicely as I would have liked, but I tried to squeeze Serenity in before Fell Squall started coming out. You definitely want to prioritize Spinning Crane Kick when there's 2 targets in Serenity, certainly over Blackout Kick. As you can see here, everything is turning red because my corruption bar, whatever you want to call it, hit max. So you use the extra action button, you go down here, you attack this soul or whatever, and as you attack him, I believe, he spawns these little orbs that you absorb. You press the extra action button again to go back up. So it's really simple as that. It's probably more complicated than that. And I'm sure on Mythic, managing your corruption stacks is going to be very important. But this was only the second time we went in it. We kind of drastically overgeared it and didn't really have a problem to kind of just brute force it. And I am historically not a prepper for raids. So really, there's not a ton that we have to know for this fight. You just attack the boss that's not spinning. You cleave them when they're together. Interrupt Belak's cast. When your corruption bar gets full, you go down, you absorb some orbs, come back up. Stuff like that. It's really just a tank and spank. It's a relatively simple fight. I did like it. I thought it was well designed. In that it had some complexity, but not a ton. It wasn't overly complicated, especially for a second boss. I don't know why they were tanked this far away. We were trying to use, I think, some mythic strategy for heroics so that we were a little bit more prepared. But yeah, so this is really the boss. There's really not much going on. And that's it. I mean, just kind of talk until it's over, I guess. Or I'll be quiet. But yeah, so I mean, there's a bone saw. You stay away from the bone saw from Atrigan. You focus on Belak. Ranged, of course, can hit both of them. It's this raid is very I don't want to say ranged oriented, but spread cleave oriented. So that's why you see Affliction Locks and Balanced Druids and Shadow Priests being really strong on the Warcraft logs, because they are all spread cleave classes. They can spread out a bunch of their stuff. So obviously stay out of the big purple things. Try not to get hit with the spiky things. Here they are all grouped up together, so I want to try and cleave. I wish they were grouped up a little bit closer. I hate using the chest because then I have 3 Chiefess of Fury. There really isn't 5 minutes worth of stuff to talk about in this fight. I forgot this fight was a smidge this long. It goes very fast. It's a very fast-moving fight. But see, again, my corruption bar was getting high. So I popped in, beat up on this guy a little bit, absorbed some of these orbs, let my corruption go back down to 0. I don't know if it's really called corruption. And then I hop back out and get back on the bosses. So yeah, I mean, this is the fight. Stay out of spinny things. Interrupt if you're in the interrupt rotation. You can use Touch of Karma to absorb some of this damage on the spinny things. Focus the boss you need to do. Cleave when you can. And stuff like that. There isn't any complicating mechanics. It's, the first minute of the fight is the same as the last minute of the fight, to my understanding. I don't know about Mythic, but this was heroic and stuff. So I kind of felt that way. Because it is cleave, it's a little more geared towards a Windwalker's toolkit. In that we have, Fist of Fury and cleave abilities. But yeah, the like someone actually just mentioned in the stream, which is a good point, and I forgot about that. But when they're spinning, when Atrigan is spinning, you don't want to, and it might be both of them when they're doing their AoE thing, you don't want to damage them. Because you don't. I don't know why. But you don't want to damage them. So, that's why you focus on the other one that's not spinning or has a circle around them. So, yeah, that's the fight. It's the first tier boss of the raid, I believe. Helmet or something like that. So yeah. That should be it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it answers more questions than it creates. As always, please support PeakofSerenity and myself through Patreon and PayPal. All that good stuff. And check out all my other kill commentaries and kill videos and guides and stuff on YouTube and all the articles on Peak. So this is the second boss, and there will be more. So until next time,